Why, hello there. Welcome to my Order of the Frilly build. I am a part of the Order of the Frilly that Offending Commit has formed, and praise the Frilly all the way, right? So I decided to make my chapter, I don't want to say chapter, but my altar build for my island that Commit he suggested that we do, or asked us if we would consider making a build on our islands that pertain to the Order of the Frilly, and since I'm part of it, I figured why not. So I picked the area on my island, which is just to the east of my little island, or my little town, and here I have my debug on so I can check the land and make sure I'm not going to build on or around anything that I don't want to get rid of. You can see there's a doggy den up to the north of where we're sleeping, and you can't see it, but I'm pointing at it, which is not doing you any good. So I'm not going to build on anything bad. So here we are. We basically take down the entire land, and I did this, and then I realized, this is a built-up section, and I'm going to get rid of the built-up sections for the most part. So I picked up all that stuff, and then we just compacted the land. So you'll find that at some point I will go through with my tiling and try to outline kind of the area that we're going to work on. It's just a rough outline. It doesn't mean that we can't alter that or change it, or however you want to phrase it. I'm going to leave the built up sections on the sides to just incorporate them into the build, and I'm going to try and leave some of the outer parts to be that deserty section, because that's what the Frillies spawn in, right? So I want the Frillies to be free flowing in the section. Once we removed the one highlands, then I wanted to go through and remove the grass, and the best way to do that is using tile. So I'm just trying to completely make my build area completely clean slate. No grass, no anything, and just build up from there. Hydrate, people. Does you good, right? I don't know why when I was standing there I didn't notice that one little section and take it down. And there's another spot that I had to remove later that I was like, why didn't I remove that one either? Now, in deciding to do this and knowing how big of a build this was going to be, I knew that I wanted to have my husband help with the building of the mountain, just because I knew it was going to be a large build, and I figured I could get more done in the time frame of my build by having him assist, because we can get stuff done quicker in twos. And so he didn't mind helping. Here I'm starting to build the diamond shape that I wanted, and I realized I was going one too short. Us builders, we're always counting, because then we're like, oh no, that's not right. And then I was going around and going back between the marble and the green brick pathing, and my husband was like, just lay it down and I'll go back through and remove the extras that are accidents, and that worked out good. I get my basic shape, and basically I started with the inner part and I decided nope, that's too small, so I wanted to go bigger. And then right here I decided I wanted to bring in water because I knew I wanted water on the base, even though I also want water coming from above. I'll use the water beds for my upper stuff, but the areas that I can actually have water on a ground level, I want them there. I want to utilize what's normal in the game because the water beds can create some extra lag, and I try to minimize my use of them, especially in the ground if I can avoid it. Or I mean if I can bring in a natural water source in the game. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm deciding, okay, I kind of want this here. I want my altar to be up there at the top of the water. And you'll also see me monkeying with my barrels or buckets over here because the chests, I keep the materials I want to use in kind of different ones, and then I have other chests where that's where I'm going to put the stuff that we accumulate as we build. You know, you clear out land, you get seeds and rocks and stones and all sorts of ore in your pockets, and I want them to have a place to be able to go to keep my pockets clear. I don't know, I know a lot of people, you've heard Riley say it, my pockets are full. And it's just, you know, it is what it is, but I try to keep my pockets fairly clear. They get full, and then I feel like I'm constantly fighting my pockets. So I set up a bunch of barrels to have a place to dump the things I don't want in my pockets and a place to put the things I need for the build, but I don't want in my pockets unless I'm actually using them at the time. So you'll see us digging in and out of those barrels periodically. And I wanted to incorporate this tropical section into my build, so you'll see me monkeying around with the tropical area quite a bit through this, towards the end of this, and in the next video. Building the mountainside I know it's going to take a while, so I figured if we get the base of the mountain done, then we can focus on other things. And right here I realized that my tiny little garden, it's the first of spring, and if I don't deal with my garden, I will pretty much lose the crops. So I took some time to quickly go over and do my gardening while my husband was continuing to build the mountainside. So get the potatoes in the ground because, you know, I'm a potato. And then you're gonna see my workspace. That kitty, that's my workspace. And here we go. And there's my buddy Frilly. Throughout the video, he kind of meanders around a little bit. With this build, I also felt it was gonna be time consuming enough, so I encouraged us to go to sleep rather than trying to do some of the stuff during late night, because, you know, late night is like slug walk. So I get to a point where I just start building up because I just want to get the bulk of the building going up, and in a moment I'm going to actually break away from what I'm doing and let my husband deal with the upper portion of this, you know, building up, and then I'm going to create a square around the diamond, basically a parameter that's saying, okay, we're going to build the mountain on the outer part of this square, and up and then down, and everything on the inside we'll deal with later as we get closer to being done with the build. Figuring things out and stuff like that. So here we go. This is where I'm gonna go around and build my outer pony wall. And I knew I wanted water coming down from the southern side of my mountain and the northern side of my mountain, so that's why I built, pushed the water over, because I intend to have water beds up at the top, falling down into the water at the base. And here's my attempt to make the pony wall, and just, we trying to figure out where I'm going and making sure I'm lining up and I'm not going to get all the way up there and find I'm in the wrong spot. And there I made a jump spot because I tend to parkour quite often. I use my glider off more than anything, but I do parkour occasionally, and I really like actually getting up on things and gliding around and doing stuff. So I try to give myself little quickie steps to jump in and out of things. And this other little water spot there is where my husband brought water over from the opposite side, and I'm in a minute I'm going to actually move that water section, because I'm going to start forming my wall of my walkway around here, and it ended up being on the wrong side of my little walkway I was starting to create, because I didn't want it to be super big walkway. I wanted it to be big enough that it's not super tight, but not that wide. So here's where I move the water source to the inner part of my wall, and then I just start kind of zigzagging things, because I know I'm going to bring the people in from like at an angle thing. So I remove as much of the rock, or most of the rock. You'll see I go back and remove a little bit more of the rock, but I'm really trying to leave some of the rock, because I'm not trying to have to recreate everything. I want some of it to be natural to how it was originally, and that stuff was already there. So here's where I'm continuing to build up my sidewalls, and also give myself some room to walk, because you get up on those higher areas and it's a little bit easier when you have multiple things. I'll go over and throw things on the chargers and take things off the chargers if I can. Yeah, they're off. And I picked up, for some reason I put one of the dirt printers back on the charger. I don't exactly know what my brain was thinking. I know when I did it, I was like, why did I do that? Here's where we're going to do the first trickle down, and for the build, I'll go over and get the water beds, and then I'm going to go back up there and put my water beds down. I wasn't exactly for sure what I needed, so I did, gosh, I think I did, it goes, I think I ended up making like 104 or 106, something like that, water beds, just because I didn't know how many I was going to need completely. So I figured, well, I'll just make at least 100. Well, it ended up being slightly more than 100 for how it builds, like 8 at a time, I believe. So whatever the math is on that. And then I wanted it to trickle down, so this is my attempt to make it look like a natural flowing water source. And we were conversing of how many we should go down to do the stair step trickle down. So my frilly buddy again. And here's where I start to kind of manipulate a little bit more of the land for the tropical side of things. I tried, like I said, I left that section in because I didn't feel I needed to build that up again when it was already built up, and I figured I could just incorporate it in. So here's where I'm starting to build this up. I ended up with all the little tropical things. And this is the side I want my other side of trickle down into the water. So here's where I will be doing more. And this walkway in, I decided I kind of want the water to flow like it's trickling, like it's a little stream on either side of the walkway. So I'm gonna be compacting out more dirt along the walkway, along the one side of the tropical extension, and then the other side that I'll be building up. And I don't know why I didn't just remove that rock in the first place. It ended up getting removed. And then I started to just do a little bit, and then I did a mass bit, and then I was like, well, no, I don't need to go big. So here's where I do the other, and then I'm gonna come back in and fill it in a little bit, and then go to sleep, and then that'll be the end of this particular video. I am gonna make this a few videos long, just because otherwise it would be very long. I don't know if tedious is the right word, but it'll be a very long video if I don't. So here's where I just continue to build up a little bit, and then I decided we're getting into late night, so let's roll into the next day. This is a good spot to stop, so I'm gonna bid you all adieu and invite you to join me in the next video and see how this build progresses. I appreciate you. I hope you come back. Please give me a like, a subscribe, and I'll see you later.